Morning Meditation, Thursday, August 10th, 2023. Keep my words. Here on the screen, you see that we have Proverbs 7 put up. This is an important passage, one of many that give us a warning. They give us aid on how to resist, particularly in this case, the adulterous woman or that sexual lure that individuals have within them and the tools we need in order to resist it. As I was reading this passage, there are several points that stood out to me that I want to share with you this morning for our meditation. If you would, notice our text. Solomon in the beginning gives a warning. He says, "My son, keep my words." If you notice in the beginning, Solomon gives his son instruction. There are certain things that his son is to devote himself to in order to resist the temptations that he will face in life. And so we see in verses 1 through 5, he says, "My son, keep my words." Keep them, treasure them up, treasure my commandments, keep my commandments, and if you do, you will live. Keep my teaching as the apple of your eye, make it the center point of your life. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, "You are my sister," and call insight your intimate friend, to keep you from the forbidden woman, from the adulteress with her smooth words. Now, notice your level of intimacy with God's word. Your complete devotion needs to be to the intimacy of God's word. You need to keep it close to you. You need to guard it. You need to hold it. You need to think on it. You need to meditate on it. You need to give yourself over to it. And when you do that, my son, you will be able to resist the adulteress with her smooth words. You see, God has words and he has spoken, and they are for your edification. The adulteress, or you name the individual who comes, the manipulator, the conniving person, the mischievous person, they come with their set of words. And if you're not equipped with my words, then you will fall prey. And then in verses 6 and following, Solomon gives his son an example. Notice what he says here. He says, "For at the window of my house I've looked out through my lattice, and I have seen among the simple, I have perceived among the youths, a man lacking sense." Now, notice this is a man who is naive. He's lacking sense. He is someone just walking around and not really thinking about his actions. He's, verse 8, passing along the street near her corner, taking the road to her house in the twilight, in the evening, at the time of night and darkness. Several points that are important here for us to consider this morning. This man is lacking sense, right? He's naive, he's young, he's wet behind the ears, and he's not someone who has listened to instruction. He's not someone who has listened or taken heed to his instructors. Prideful, arrogant, do it my way. I got it. Don't worry. It's not that serious. Okay. Notice what he does, verse 8. He's passing along the street near her corner. See, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go down this road. It's not that bad. I'm just gonna go down this road." Taking the road to her house. He could have taken any other corner. It had to be near her corner. And then it had to be the road to her house. And notice the time frame, verse 9, in the twilight, in the evening, when not many people are out. They're with their families, they're resting, or they're doing something with others. And this man decides to go for a stroll as the evening comes, at the time of night and darkness. So he's going where no one could see him. He can't be spotted. Oh, there goes so and so. Look at him. He's going over there to that adulteress's house, that house, the prostitute's house, or the woman who's wily of heart. And then it says in verse 10, this is important. Look at this. "And behold, the woman meets him." And it's just fascinating, right? He's just walking around, in his own mind, he's not really being intentional about going in this direction, but he really is. And then, oh, behold, the woman meets him. Huh, what a coincidence, right? What a happenstance. And she's dressed as a prostitute, wily of heart. So this morning, What I want to remind us of is we need to watch our steps. We need to watch our actions. We can't put ourselves in positions that set us up to fail and to fall. And lest we think that we can be strong enough in the time of temptation, the thing we don't realize is that the stronger the inclinations of our hearts get toward the temptation, the easier it is for us not to resist. And I'll try to put it a different way. If you give your sinful inclinations food and you keep feeding it with your particular lusts, you keep giving it the fodder, you keep giving it the fire that it needs, right? That when you're trying to put out the fire or when you're trying to resist its temptation, you're not going to be able. You've created a monster. And so, what Solomon is saying is don't even go there. Don't even put yourself in that position. Resist. Keep my words. Don't listen to her words. Don't be simple. Don't be naive. Don't just think that you're strong enough within yourself to go just randomly walk down her road. And when she comes, you're going to be able to resist. No, you're not that strong. Okay, now I want to close with this last section. Look at verse 24 and following. Notice what it says. And now, O sons, listen to me and be attentive to the words of my mouth. Let not your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths, for many a victim she laid low, and all her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is the way to Sheol, going down to the chambers of death. A couple things to keep in mind here. Notice the urgency of Solomon's tone after he describes the woman here in verses 14 through 20 and also 21 through 23. Verses 21 through 23, we see the consequences of him listening to her and being allured by her. But verses 24 through 27, we see the urgency of Solomon. He says, "Oh, sons, listen to me. This example that I just gave you doesn't have to be your life, but you must listen to me." And he says, "Be attentive to the words of my mouth. Pay attention. Lean your ear in and humble yourself and submit to my teaching because it will save you." And what does he say? Verse 25, "Let not your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths, for many a victim has she laid low." You see, you're not the only one, the man in this example. There are going to be others. And son, if you don't heed my words, even you will be numbered among her victims. Her house is laid way to Sheol, going down to the chambers of death. One verse that's very important, and we'll close with this. The end of verse 23. Notice this verse highlighted. He does not know that it will cost him his life. If you don't heed to God's word and you don't treasure it near you, then you will fall. You will be lost. It will cost you your life. And maybe sexual temptation isn't your thing. Maybe that isn't what you're weak in, but whatever it is, if you don't take heed to the words of God and you don't hold them near and dear to you, and you don't seek to apply them in your life in every given situation, you will be like those who have fallen. So take heed, my son, lest ye fall. Well, that's all for today. Grace and peace.